What is the difference between this pressing shape and this one for Real Madrid? Uncovering this is fundamental to understanding one of the key tactical battles, as Barcelona got their fourth Clásico win this season. But Ancelotti made some tactical tweaks in a bid to change the result, and got closer than he has all season. But what were those changes? Let's take a look. From the very first minute, it was clear that this would be a very different Madrid side in possession. They were well accustomed to Barcelona's press at this point from the goal kick, and we've discussed that shape in depth in previous videos. And in this match, Real Madrid refused to walk into the same trap. Their answer? Extreme verticality. Mbappe and Vinicius pushed high. Ridiculously high, with Mbappe borderline trotting on Szczesny's toes from the goal kick. This, of course, was because you can't be offside from a goal kick, so this forced Barcelona to do something that they've been avoiding all season. They dropped their backline deep. This had multiple potential advantages for Los Blancos. The high press, which has been Barcelona's greatest strength out of possession all season, could now no longer be as effective, as the close proximity needed to compress the pitch for the defensive pressing team was now absent. But it also meant that Madrid had opened up huge spaces between the lines, as the Barcelona midfield were often caught out still high up the pitch pressing. So Real Madrid would commit the front two, and often try and have Güler and Bellingham ready to win the second balls, to allow them to then transition to a quick attack, leading to danger. And Madrid committed so heavily to this initially that from the goal kicks it was Valverde looking to launch the long ball, as he could provide more accurate and flatter goal kicks than Courtois. The plan was clear in the first half. Madrid wanted to play over the press. However, there was also the other side of the coin, as committing so many players high up and Valverde still moving up from having taken the goal kick meant that if Madrid did not win the second ball, they looked incredibly vulnerable on the transition, with Barcelona looking to flip the script immediately. But Real Madrid could not consistently lean on this approach in open play, because now the efficacy of the Barcelona offside trap took shape. But in particular, in this match, Real Madrid were let down in open play massively. Barcelona, in this open play phase, could be man-to-man in the midfield, whilst also looking to apply pressure out wide. But we saw a combination of two things contribute to Madrid's downfall. The first was, yes, Barcelona's high pressure did force Madrid into errors in dangerous areas. But realistically, there was a large element of just uncharacteristic sloppy play from Madrid, particularly Vasquez, as they gave away the ball on multiple occasions in dangerous zones. We see the sloppy play finally get punished here, as Barcelona scored their third after a miscommunication from Mbappe and Ceballos leads to a turnover, allowing Rafinha to get in on the quick transition to score. And we also see it here, where Vasquez just completely miscontrols the ball, allowing Rafinha to pounce, eventually leading to a goal. But what we did also see shades of was Real Madrid looking to take advantage of some of Barcelona's weaknesses in a similar way to Inter Milan. See, Barcelona's offside trap is much more effective when they only have to catch a single runner, be it Mbappe or Bellingham or Vinicius offside. However, the true danger emerged when Real Madrid used waves of staggered runners to try and break the offside trap, like we saw Inter doing, as Barcelona will probably catch the first man offside. However, in doing so, they completely stop their momentum to hold the line and present the opportunity for a second wave runner to receive the ball instead. And we saw Real get close with this method on a couple of occasions, such as here, where Bellingham was narrowly offside. And in fact, Madrid did break the offside trap earlier in the game, when both Mbappe and Vinicius made runs from central areas. However, they were let down by a poor touch. But it finally did pay off for Mbappe's hat-trick goal, where after a turnover, the two men again made runs through the center, leading to a goal. But it wasn't just about the pressing for Barcelona. They also dominated in possession. Real Madrid particularly struggled when Barcelona built down the left-hand side. And here's the fascinating bit. it looked like Madrid took some inspiration from Barcelona's own pressing shape, with the right winger Güler moving onto the centre-back and Vázquez from right-back keeping an eye on the left-back. But it also meant that Madrid inherited some of the weaknesses of Barcelona's pressing shape. At times, Rafinha would drift infield early as he loves to do, and this could draw the attention of Tchouaméni. And even if it didn't, it still meant that Tchouaméni and Ferran Torres were 1 versus 1, and the Frenchman is not a centre-back, and there was plenty of room in behind to hit. And Martín always took the opportunity when he had the time and space to look up. And Ferran was always making that run, getting Barcelona into dangerous positions on more than one occasion. Usually, when Barcelona press in this similar shape, when a fullback pushes high up the pitch, the defensive midfielder will take up this hybrid position, ready to either press in the midfield or cover in that deeper, wider region. But Real Madrid made no such adaptation to their pressing shape, making it easier for Barcelona to attack the flanks. So compare the vulnerability of that shape to this adaptation that we saw as the game progressed. Instead of having the winger press the centre-back, it's the midfielder who joins Mbappé, allowing the winger to be on Martín, and the fullback to stay deep and give Real Madrid a much sturdier defensive shape. But in open play, Madrid were more passive, and again we saw them being willing to adapt in this match after the 3 previous defeats. They were well aware of Barcelona's ability to attack in a rough front 5, with Martín and Yamal providing the width and Olmo and Rafinha moving infield. And to reduce the potential impact of these men in the half spaces, out of possession they switched to a back 5 of their own, with Valverde often dropping into a left centre-back position as Madrid dropped into a 5-3-2. And the impact of this, well, it did allow Tchouaméni and Valverde to now more aggressively pursue the men in the half spaces, which was a benefit. But on the flip side, Barcelona were looking to use the aggressive nature of the now wide centre-backs against them, as Olmo was consistently dropping deeper to try and open up space before spinning in behind. Or, more effectively, the beauty of Flick's system not being a strict positional one is that Rafinha could drift all the way across the pitch and create a 2 versus 1 against Valverde and look to attack the space. But here's the thing, that's not the main way they took advantage of the space. Madrid in their modified shape were determined to protect the centre at all costs, so Barcelona had more room on the flanks, which meant that Yamal saw even more of the ball than usual, ending with the 4th most touches. That was because Madrid's central protection made it easier to play a simple ball down the flank into Yamal. And crucially, Garcia was more aggressive than usual, being unleashed up the pitch much earlier, whilst Yamal made the opposite movement. So this would often mean that the defenders had to keep one eye on Garcia, as they knew that Vinicius from his left centre-forward position would not track all the way, and this ended up giving Yamal a fraction more space, and he was lethal in those extra few yards, creating relentlessly for the back post runs of Rafinha. And at times, despite looking to protect the centre, Madrid found themselves being overly passive, such that Barcelona got into zone 14 a lot more easily, as the front 2 would be high up the pitch, and Pedri and De Jong could dictate from these zones. Nothing exemplifies this more than looking at the deep completion statistic. A deep completion is simply a pass that was started and completed within 20 yards of the goal, excluding crosses. Put simply, it means that Barcelona had a much easier time keeping possession in and around Real Madrid's box. But being so aggressive with both fullbacks left Barcelona vulnerable against one of the best transition sides in the world, and we saw this punished ruthlessly for Madrid's second. What a first season for Hansi Flick. It looks like La Liga is wrapped up, and the season has contained 4 Clásico wins across competitions. So a simple question for you. What would you rate Flick's first season out of 10? And with the season coming to a close, now is the perfect time to up your tactical understanding before the next season begins. And the best way to do this is using tactical mastery. One of the questions I've gotten the most over the years is how you can learn tactical analysis. And to be honest, when I started learning analysis nearly a decade ago, there were limited reliable resources where you could go to do so. The bad news is when I I checked if things had changed a year ago, there still wasn't anything amazing out there. That motivated me to spend the last year developing tactical mastery, so now you can learn everything I know about analysis in the same simple FMS style that you're accustomed to from the channel. This is the program I wish I had when I was starting to learn tactical analysis, and it would have saved me a bunch of time. So if that sounds good, check out Tactical Mastery through the top link in the description.